Seriously, who is this weirdo?
Everyone is wondering why the disgusting abomination known as HBO's Velma is getting a season 2. Well, as I briefly mentioned in one of my other 2 videos I made on this, everyone who has successfully hate-watched the show has contributed to it.
How dare you!
One strange out-of-pocket article headlined the news by saying, Velma is reportedly coming back for more hijinkies. The animated series that debuted with mixed reviews is getting another chance to make its first impression. Pretty sure that the term first impression means the impression it made the first time. You can't get 2 first impressions. Deadline reported that HBO Max has been working on a second season with Mindy Kaling, who voices the titular character Gay Icon. I don't understand why it's important to label people as a gay icon or a black icon or whatever box they want to put people in. The entirety of a person's identity shouldn't hinge on who they're attracted to, but that's what these studios want to make everything about, as though what type of terrain between the legs you prefer to traverse is the only thing interesting and valuable about you as a person. Trust me, I would get equally as annoyed when people say cringy stuff such as, oh my god, the series is back with everyone's Asian actress such and such and such, and I'm like, ew, can we not? We already have enough fetishes going around. We don't need the first thing people thinking about us being what ethnicity we are, as if that's the only thing that matters or the thing that's a priority. Anyway, rant aside, see what I'm saying? There's no stopping this queer icon. While other more interesting and enjoyable shows have been cast aside, of course, the evil cryptids are made stronger by the hatred feeding it. I meant what I stated regarding watching the show. In actuality, I have not used the HBO streaming site for some time. After declaring that I would not hate watch the show, I kept my promise, and I did not. I just saw fragments of episode 2 and I didn't make it past episode 1. I knew that the show desired attention, therefore advertising all of its episodes would give it precisely what it wanted. So it's not surprising that the show is getting a second season, given that it was intentionally designed to provoke people and generate a buzz. The creators know that people tend to talk more about things that make them angry, so they're capitalizing on that to keep the show in the public eye. What they care about most, though, is whether or not they can still make money from you, despite whether you hated it or not. This is why people often seek out YouTube channels that offer content that can be collectively mocked or made fun of. It's become a cultural phenomenon. It's not hard to understand why. In an era where it seems like everything is off limits for criticism or humor, finding a target that's easy to poke fun at can be refreshing, like low-hanging supple fruit, waving its fruity ass in the air, wanting you to pick it and slap it and take a bite.
Oh, what the fuck?
Some folks even enjoy being tortured. You know how in some of these old movies, characters would crawl down on all fours, use a cat of nine tails to chastise themselves and beseech God for forgiveness, but then those same guys would run off to a dominatrix and have her basically do the same thing to them? These are the type of viewers that the show Velma is for. What I've discovered is that with something like that, it usually succeeds for the first season and then completely falls off because people have already had their fill and the novelty of the hate has worn thin. So the studios will come out with something like Rings of Power, She-Hulk, the aforementioned Batwoman, and see people hating on it and ride the trail of hatred to the bank, erroneously thinking it's going to stick around for a second season. Then they have the rude awakening when they realize they're no longer laughing at the people they're making money off of, but they realize that they're the ones being laughed at, as they have essentially now wasted their money thinking the success was going to last. Now this video here that you're watching was made around the time that the season 2 announcement came up. And hey, for all we know, season 2 is going to knock everybody's socks off, and it's going to be an extreme improvement, but I have a feeling that's not going to be the case. I'm canceling my HBO streaming account, not because of this, but because there isn't anything new coming out. And the only reason I acquired it in the first place was to watch Raised by Wolves, which was canceled, but they opted to continue with this. It's strange how it works, despite the fact that Raised by Wolves was a fantastic show. So the next time we see a wonderful sci-fi show or whatever we genuinely, legitimately enjoy, we should satirically submit reviews trashing it and making fun of it. Because obviously Hollywood interprets it as a sign that we enjoy it rather than the numerous videos promoting how wonderful it is. The point is, even if this is supposed to be a reverse psychology attempt to encourage people to avoid talking about it, if no one watches it because no one is talking about it, they lose regardless. After all, everything that needed to be said about this abomination was already declared, so we're good to go. After all, there's always anime and webtoons, right? There's an infinite supply of truly well-told stories with competent characters, and actual comedy and or romance, or whatever genre you desire. But why would Warner Brothers be concerned? This is the issue with studios becoming too large emerge and is becoming complacent with the work that they produce. There appears to be such a limited range of truly decent TV shows these days that when the really poor ones do come out, they're now very evident and do not fade into obscurity. And when they can make bank just having people watch regardless of the positivity or negativity of the reception, why bother even being creative? The creators probably understood that this was going to happen, as I've said before, and they're trying to make a quick buck. And when art has become all about making a quick buck, creativity then dies. Methods like these are the enemy of entertaining art forms, even though you could claim that the hate genre has become its own art form. I'm honestly amazed that people sat through all the episodes to review them, and I have no idea how they managed to pass that off. I felt like my own existence was melting away from my body. Focusing on a show like this is akin to giving attention to someone who is intentionally seeking it out. There are people who like attention and they will do anything to encourage it, and then there are others who will scream at the top of their lungs that they want attention. Tell me, what would you do if an annoying frog of a farty human being was screaming like that? I'll tell you what everyone would do, because I've been in that situation with several of my friends. Some annoying person trying very hard to be our friend and to be a provocateur. We would all pretend the person is not there until they made the fatal mistake to dare to touch us or invade our personal space. That is what we do with shows like Velma. We leave our feedback, and if you genuinely don't get entertainment out of cracking jokes about it, then keep it pushing. However, there's a curious sense of mutualism that begins to emerge. This is the case that I'll make in favor of the show's continuation. I know your ears are perked up right now because you're probably wondering what possible justification there may be to defend a show like Velma. See, shows like Velma are laughing their way to the bank because we're watching them and giving them bad press. What happens as a result of many people viewing reviews like ours? We also get paid, which encourages us to keep making videos talking about how atrocious it is and why it was made atrocious on purpose, and thus a very strange, toxic mutualistic relationship ensues between reviewers who were outraged about this and at least are getting paid for how ill the show is making them, and the showrunners and their crew as a result of the reviewers giving them press. I wouldn't exactly call it a win-win because it's bad for your health watching something like this, but it definitely helps. So with that being said, what do you think should happen? I will also give credit to the show for is how it brought everyone together, critics and audiences alike. But not everyone, because it appears that some individuals believe we are exaggerating when we explain just how horrible the show is. Don't believe me? Check out what I mean in this video. Although I think this is one of the cases where this person is full of shit and they're also trying to say the most outlandish thing possible to get eyes on their article. No hate on that, because there's no way in hell they could possibly mean this. And near the end of the article, you'll see exactly what I mean. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Ultiori. You ask, we answer.